Hey there, and welcome back to another Miraculous Ladybug Season 2 Retrospective review. It's been a little while since our last one, but I'm ready to get back into them. This time, we're looking at Befana, an episode that had largely dropped out of my mind. I honestly don't remember anything about it other than Marinette's grandma gets introduced. So not really much else to say beyond that, but to jump into things, right? So we start off the episode, surprise, surprise, in Marinette's room where she's folding laundry. Why is she folding all these different coloured shirts that she apparently owns? No idea. After all, she literally never wears anything else casually. Costume changes only happen for something special. I think it would have been far funnier to have her folding the exact same grey shirt again and again. Also, check out the folding job on this green shirt. First up, the sleeve is wacky as hell, but then she folds it in half in a way that is different from the rest of the shirts, but when she goes to put it on the pile, it magically changes shape. It's like when you're playing The Sims and they're making food, and it magically turns from chopped ingredients or whatever to food on the plate. Man, I forgot how dodgy some of the episode's animation could be for the show, especially in the early days. I guess this is one of those episodes. Either way, today is Marinette's birthday, and she seems rather excited, but distracted, always looking at her phone, waiting for a call. So she's pretty distracted whilst Tiki's trying to hype her up about the gift that she wants to give her. A gift? Well, that gets Marinette's attention. And so Tiki spits out some fluorescent ooze that turns into her present. It really lingers on her hands just as ooze for quite a while as well. I would also be pretty disgusted at first. Imagine if this was how humans gave gifts. Oh yeah, you'll get your PlayStation, but first Santa has to spit in your hands. Ugh. So Tiki's made her a gift, and when she realises that Marinette's feeling a bit weird about being spat on, it gets kind of awkward. Here's another classic example of bad animation. Check out Marinette's goblin face as she tries to reassure Tiki. Ugh. So the present's a Kwagatama, which is a magic friendship charm. And they set that plot point up early, hey. Does it ever get used until season 5? Damn, that's long-term storytelling. So Marinette tells Tiki that Alia's meant to call her soon, as they're going to be taking Alia's little sisters to the dentist, which Marinette tells Tiki is actually a front, because her friends are going to be throwing her a surprise birthday party. Although I have to say that at first Marinette's evidence is rather dubious. One of her key pieces of evidence that she's actually getting a party is that she caught Julika with a bike pump in her locker. Therefore, she must have been planning to use it to blow up balloons, even though having a bike pump in your locker would make a lot of sense if you cycle to school. She also apparently caught Nino listening to her favourite song. How odd is it to run up to somebody and press your ear up to their headphones, even if you are their friend? Bit strange. I truly think that only her final piece of evidence makes much sense, and that's Adrian being the person to recommend a dentist to Alia for her sisters, when really you'd think that their parents would be able to handle that part of childcare, right? Plus, in that sequence, Adrian was acting pretty sus. However, Tiki is a bit of a party pooper and doubts her, and so Marinette has no choice but to prove it by confronting her parents by bursting in and asking about the planned surprise party, which in turn leads to poor Tom chucking this massive cake, which seems to be close to completion, straight down into the garbage. So many options, Tom. So many options, and yet here we are. Honestly, this dude is not doing well under pressure. First he claims that he doesn't know who Alia is, and then after being confronted on that, he says that they haven't seen her for years, even though she's only known the family for less than a year. Realistically, it's been weeks to a couple of months at this stage of the show. That's not the only goofy part of this scene though. Marinette straight up turns her head whilst her parents are still looking at her to tell Tiki that she was right. She doesn't even close the door. You can see she's still standing in the blue door frame. The doorbell rings and Marinette goes to answer it, assuming it's going to be Alia, only to find her grandma, Tom's mum. I'd forgotten that she was Italian, I think. Really laying that accent on thick. I did find it rather cute though that they reference how no matter where she is in the world on her travels, she's always writing letters and keeping in touch with Marinette. And that she came all this way as a special birthday surprise. That's pretty sweet. Good grandma. Forgetting that she's turning 14 and not 10 though? Woof, that's pretty bad, hey? Seriously, there's a massive difference between being 9 turning 10 and being 13 turning 14, as the size difference in the gifted shirt shows. She also gives Marinette an old candy that she no longer seems to enjoy, and says that she's going to take her out for the day to places like the merry-go-round and the zoo. Things that sound like fun, but are clearly not Marinette's current interests. Lift your game, Nonna. You're getting left behind. Also, the whole persecution complex she goes through when Tom tries to get her to take a step back and tries to tell her there's a surprise party planned for Marinette. Damn. With parents like Gina and Roland, I do have to wonder how the hell Tom ended up being so well adjusted as a person. Can't have been easy. Marinette, though, being a saint, indulges her grandma and does all the things she knows she wants her to do. All the while, though, she's getting more and more worried that she hasn't been contacted by Alia yet. Also at the zoo, come on Marinette, you should not be feeding candy to a giraffe. Apparently they like sugar, but I suspect it should be in the fruit form, not refined candy. Alia's dad would be in shambles about this behaviour. Remember what happened when Kim claimed he could outrun a panther? Anyway, whilst Gina's getting ice cream from Andre, Marinette finally gets that call from Alia that she'd been waiting for all day and eagerly accepts to go and meet her, with the reveal that Gina had heard everything, but she lets Marinette go. While she doesn't outwardly get upset with Marinette, she doesn't really take it all that well, and she goes up to the apartment to dwell on how she thinks that Marinette's outgrown her. Well, maybe make an effort to keep up with the fact that your granddaughter is now a teenager and has changed interests. That would be a good start. Marinette arrives at her party and all her friends are there and some parents too. Oh, and Manon. Because who wouldn't want Manon at their birthday party? Am I right, guys? Guys? Am I right? All the while, Gina's sad, wondering where's the time gone, before she opens the sweets container to discover a bunch of gross half-sucked-on lollies that Marinette was trying to hide. Of course, Gabe can't resist this at all, and off goes the Akuma to turn Gina into Befana. Honestly, Gabe's wild for this, because he would know that Adrian is at Marinette's birthday party at this very moment, and he could be put in danger by all of this. As we always say on this channel, smooth brain, and also a Father of the Year contender right here. Come on, Gabe. Be better. Speaking of bad parents, Befana turns up and ruins Tom's cake, and this is the third cake he'd made for Marinette that had been ruined, and then she kills him, yes, kills him, turns him to coal for being a naughty boy. Yikes! Yikes for sure right there, no hesitation, just full on kills her son. Meanwhile, she lets Sabine become one of her mind-controlled servants. Doesn't quite seem fair, does it? Befana crashes the party, ready to punish Marinette with death. But bad luck, Milan, because you've got caught in the crossfire of the candy gun. Rest in peace. I have to say though, danger and the unfortunate death of her father and friend aside, at least Befana interrupted Marinette before she could make a fool of herself in front of Adrian when she opens his gift. Small victories. Cat Noir arrives to try to save the day, but gets caught up fighting Marinette's mum instead, and can't really do much to stop Befana. Meanwhile, Befana spams her gun a little bit too much, allowing Marinette to be saved from certain death by the power of egregious plot armor. Oh well. I guess sometimes we just have to accept it, right? Moving on, Marinette's friends decide that they need to try to help Marinette, and so Alia strikes, throwing plates at Befana before getting murdered. Kim tries to sneak attack but fails and dies. Rose speaks up for Marinette and gets angeled for being brave and noble, whilst Cat Noir arrives and takes Marinette to safety. He leaves everybody else for the slaughter though. Also, how the hell did the rest of the class manage to use the bunting flags to lasso and capture the angels? I mean, it's pretty brave. They all end up getting massacred here, but still, it is very brave. Not sure I'd step up for a classmate like that. Scratch that. It's not even not sure. I definitely wouldn't. Maybe I'm selfish, but at least I'm being honest. Also, weren't Nino and Alia's parents at this party? Do the three of them just not care to make sure that Alia's okay? Don't care that she's dead? That's ice cold. So Cat Noir manages to get Marinette to safety at the Eiffel Tower, and off he goes to do battle with Befana once again, whilst Marinette transforms into Ladybug. Meanwhile, Befana's flying through Paris for some reason, singing. Was singing part of her character before that was referenced? I don't think so. So why is she singing? Is it just so they can hammer home that she's Italian by having her sing opera? I guess. Anyway, as she flies around, she delivers her form of justice to the people of Paris. She kills a dude for littering, as well as a little boy for picking on a little girl. Whew! That little girl's gonna be traumatized, eh? Better get a therapist on speed dial. She angelifies a random guy for helping a mum and her baby, and a fireman for getting a cat out of a tree. She kills a road rager before getting knocked out of the sky by Cat Noir and Ladybug, who also sing, for some reason. Hawkmoth orders Befana to get the Miraculouses, but not before being forced to say please, as everybody has to listen to Nonna. Befana, instead of dealing with the heroes like she was told, orders her goons to do it, while she very quickly puzzles out that Cat Noir took Marinette to the Eiffel Tower to hide. The heroes follow her to the tower, and they begin their battle. Cat Noir versus the Angels, which is mostly just him dodging, really. Not very exciting. And Ladybug versus Befana, with Ladybug also just dodging. Inspired choreography here. Until she notices that even Befana has to move out of the way of her own attacks to avoid getting killed. So she uses her lucky charm, and she gets a tuba. But before they can really figure out what to do with it, they get knocked through the floor of the tower, and are then held at gunpoint. Instead of straight up taking the Miraculouses now for the easy win, Befana stalls. Gabe should be going mad at this stage of the game. Dude's villain is powerful, but she's letting the victory slip away. Bad luck, Gabe. She gets fooled by Ladybug and Cat Noir into following Cat Noir to where he claims Marinette's hidden, whilst Ladybug is guarded by the Angels. She whoops them off screen with a fire hose, whilst Befana realizes she's been duped. And in a moment of plot armor, despite having the gun trained on Cat Noir, she just leaves him be. So once again, this final defeat, it feels like massive bullshit. Massive plot armor, it's ridiculous. They managed to shoot a fire hydrant at Befana using the tuber from before, and they do this as she shoots out the candy, which turns the water to coal, and since the water was touching her, she's turned to coal and dies too. Whew, no chill from Ladybug today. They then get the Akuma, they fix everything, yada yada yada, you know how it goes. Grandma and granddaughter reconcile, and it's all sweet. Gina may then have been flirting with Andre the ice cream man, and it's all disturbing. The cake gets brought out, and it's all sweet again. I want that cake, my god, it looks good. Oh, and Adrian gives Marinette a charm that he made for her, because he carries the one that she gave him around wherever he goes. It's a good luck charm, he claims. But sure, she's just a very good friend, right, mate? This kid. Can't believe I didn't notice this kind of thing when I first watched the show. He's already vibing. He's just in denial. We finish off with some terrible janky animation of the dancing crowd as Nino kicks off his set. I mean, jeez. Look at that. This is embarrassingly bad. Finally, Tiki finds time to shit on Adrian's gift and call it weird before we end the episode there. I have to say, this was rather fun. A bit plot armory at times, but not enough that it bothered me too much, although the action was pretty poor and the animation was outright bad. The plot was decent though, and Marinette specifically, her character shined in this episode. And I think it's worth it for that alone, because Marinette doesn't get enough love. And so, yeah, with all that being said, these have all just been my opinions, and I'd like to hear yours. What did you think of this episode if you've seen it? Did you like it? Hate it? I'm curious for your thoughts, so make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know.